Hi, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the guest may not represent those of the station or the host. Folks, I have a special guest with me today. I have Dr. Paul Hanna, who is writer and author of Remembering Qualities of Your Soul, Joyfully Living Your God Self. Dr. Hanna is an author, writer, healer, a speaker, a master teacher. He hosts workshops. He is a child psychiatrist, UCLA Medical Acupuncture School he went to. He does a lot. And I could be here all day just talking about the attributes of Dr. Paul Hanna, but I'm going to let Dr. Paul Hanna talk about that himself because I think it would be better coming from him. He teaches to shine like the sun, glow like the moon, and flow like water. I love that. I love that. So I want to welcome Dr. Paul Hanna from Chicago to Chatting with Betsy. Welcome, Dr. Hanna.
No, thank you tremendously. I'm grateful to be on your show, to have an opportunity to learn and also to share, And you gave a lot about my information. Basically, I am an MD, child psychiatry, adult psychiatry, board certified. From there, I went up to do a lot of study in energy because I found out to really to help people, you must align them with their own energy. We can talk pharmaceutical, we can talk everything. Until one believe, receive, and accept their own energy, they always run into a physician, run in some place. My question is, how can I teach people to align to themselves? So that's why I went following studying acupuncture, not the UCLA School for Medical Physician, but I also went to China, Nanjing. I studied there, specialized in acupuncture and ear acupuncture, general acupuncture, because it's about that. But also, in addition to that, I did a lot of qigong, dealing with natural healing. So that took me all over the world, from Brazil, Tibet, times to Hawaii, just learning about how do you wake up your inner self. How do you do that? So during that time, I've seen align myself, number one, until you could really help yourself, how can you help someone else? So I've seen the benefit of it, just aligning your three bodies. You said something about shine, glow, flow. That is the rhyme, that's the rhythm, that's all those things to it. But most important is the universal laws. I think the laws deal with energy and everything that is that with the energy of, and that's why I really like that. So shining like the sun, meaning that the sun shines on everybody, everything. So it eliminates, neutralizes, and transforms all ism, sexism, racism, politicalism. It doesn't have that. The sun shines. So imagine you have the sunshine love. You're shining throughout this galaxy, this planet, to yourself, to your family, whatever, Then we will change the vibrational frequency within you, with your environment within the planet. When you can glow like the moon, glowing like the moon is, the moon is very powerful in affecting our body, but you could align your mental, your emotional, your physical, and spiritual body, then you can glow. With so many of us, the MDs, JDs, all these alphabets that I will name, we might get stuck at a certain title. Titles is just a title. The question is, do you have the energy to manifest into your wonders? So glowing, you have united all those bodies to a one. You are balanced. So we all came here to be in balance, to be in flow. Flowing like the water is like, the nature of water is always flowing forward. It never goes backwards. It goes around, it yields, it flows. And always running down to give it more force, more power, more humble. Humility, what should I say? So water has, we as human beings, we are 70% water. The planet is 70% water. So water is very, very significant in regards to showing a metaphysical principle as to how we can live. You don't get stuck. You always go around the problem. You yield it. You keep moving. And water is always going from a small bottle of water to a large bottle of water because it's about integration and unification, harmonization. That is about water. So that's why I say shine, glow, flow. That's what that's about. So
I love that. I love it, Dr. Hanna. It's so interesting. Excuse me for interrupting. I feel like because I was a caregiver and I've been in caregiver groups, that we have to learn to bend and flow like water. I mean, I used to say that all the time. We have to go with the ebbs and flows of life.
Yes.
And not be rigid. And, I'm 65 now, Dr. Hannah, and it took me until I was 60 really to understand, to come into my own, to shine my light, not be afraid to be who I am. And it's so much better to be authentic.
It is very, very important. The question is, so many people in our country, maybe over the world, we have a tendency to conform to society, and conformity doesn't necessarily match your internal self. The question is, who are you? And I tell people, out of the 8 billion or 9 billion people on this planet, no one has your thumbprint. It goes back to your point of view. Do you have the courage to show who you are, to be who you are? But so many are so conditioned to, well, my family said, my environment said, my political, whatever it might be. The question is it you? Is it really elevating you and people around you, or I select people? I say, be like the sun, it shines. So I want to make a little thing, joke about you. You said you're 65, right?
I'm 65, yes.
In my world,
and I'm proud of it.
This Saturday?
I'm proud of being 65. I'm not ashamed of my age. I thank God I'm alive.
In my way of looking at things, I deal with cosmic energy. Do you know it takes 20, 30 years, Earth years, to equal to one cosmic minute? So in reality, you're only 2 minutes old, 2.5 minutes old. That's what I said. So very young in that sense. So if you look at it in that sense, 2 minutes. Most people doesn't live 4 minutes. So I say, yeah, you're very, very young in that. Stay with that. Stay in that focus. Stay in that frequency. But we had to learn how to shine and glow flow. We had to learn how to have the courage to be who you are. So many people conform. They only do their talent. Talent is great, but your gift is better. A gift that you was born with, do you have the courage to shine? You use the word shine. You can shine. When you shine in your gift, you're elevating the planet. That is the nature of gifts in a positive way,
Yes, and I have a question to ask you, Dr. Hannah. Do you, in your opinion, do you think when people, I want to say, squash themselves and not be who they are and pretend to be, someone else or what society puts on them or the family, does that make them sick physically?
I would say it's increasing internal energy. And in turn, your energy get increased and it's getting blocked. It's called stagnation. Stagnation causes the inflammation. Then you can have a disease process. I would say it contributes towards that. I would say that, yes. Because so many people get on a job for, even a relationship, they maintain it for status. They maintain, but not for inner joy. And who are they doing it for? Because they want to conform to the acceptance of a larger group of people. So you're really not being yourself. You're not being free. You're not flowing like the water. You're just like conforming to the water. You see the difference. So, and it's your question. I would say it definitely contributes towards one being imbalanced. And when you have that frustration, that tension, you cause your blood vessels to constrict. Constriction called stagnation. That causes that kind of problem if you maintain the state of mind.
Yes, I really think that, in my own opinion, that when someone is not being true to themselves and being who they are, that it causes undue stress, which then can cause inflammation and, lower your resistance to diseases. And, when I don't like it, but society does this, I put people into boxes, right? You could, you could only be this or you can only be that, and then you have your family telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't be like this. And, and I think sometimes we lose who we are because of our environment.
The environment has a strong impact. It can, and people usually conform to it, the impact of the environment or the impact of the parents of someone. So the question is, does that match you? You have to have the courage to go inside and have some introspection of yourself. And sometimes you're feeling frustrated. You have the right job, the right relationship, but you still don't feel right. So what's going on here? Is it for you or is it for somebody else? You have to ask the question all the time. You have to have an ever-present state of consciousness about you. Because when you're happy, you create a happy frequency. And no one is responsible for your happiness except you. You're responsible for your health. You're responsible for your harmony. So I teach the 3 H's. What are you doing to improve your health? Mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritual health. What are you doing? So who's responsible for your happiness? What makes you happy? So happiness and joyfulness are 2 different things. And so the question is, do you have the courage to be who you are? Let's come back to the same question. And that comes down to a serious issue, courage and confidence, to stand up and say, well, this is me. This is who I am. Because no one can breathe for you except yourself. That's very important. So breath is very important to understand how it can be utilized to enhance and expand yourself.
Yes. I encourage people very much so to, embrace how they feel. Because I think people, they, want to put on this facade, I have to be strong, I have to be this, I have to be that. And, I say you don't have to be. And I think I'm a rebel in a way, Dr. Hannah. I, of going against the grain, especially, when it comes to grieving and losing a loved one. People don't want to talk about it. People don't want to realize their feelings or validate it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk about my grieving. You could talk about it. Honor your person's memory. Show pictures. So that's, I believe, fully in validating, how we feel and acknowledging it instead of running away from it.
I totally encourage people to validate how they feel. Okay. And I also encourage people to take responsibility for their feeling. I also tell people to, sometimes we project negative things to someone else. But all relationships have 2 sides. The question is, how did you co-create that experience? In regards to grieving, I ask people, were you present with that person that went in the spirit world? If you wasn't, okay, you learn to forgive yourself. All your feelings go along with that, we can deal with that. That's how we go beyond it. But you got to acknowledge, how do you feel? What's the cause? Why you feeling this way? When I don't go to that process, we move faster. So I wish they were still here, rather than collecting or accepting what you learned about that person to help enhance your life now. Can you do it to keep it alive? As you said, photos, experiences, to talk about that, it's okay. But the blaming part, it gets you stagnated. You become a victim.
Yes.
You get stuck at that level. So,
that's so true.
I understand. You
have to
encourage.
It's so true, Dr. Hannah, because you know what? I have to, I know I've said this before in my show, but you haven't heard it. I blamed myself for a year after my husband passed of picking out, the wrong hospice, and I felt guilty. And then I had a epiphany of my husband, Matt, telling me, Betsy, let it go. I'm not suffering. Go do what you're supposed to do and fly.
Very good.
And I dropped, the guilt. And I didn't think I would feel guilty, but I did. Because a lot of caregivers, they second-guess themselves. That I do the right thing.
Yeah, that's it. Because guilt, look at it, you analyze guilt from a psychiatric or emotional point of view. Guilt is associated with you. Could I did better? Did I do better? I could have, should have. But if you know whatever you do, you did the best at that particular time. But if you at least did do at that particular time the best, then the guilt get more intense. So the course, regardless of the way, you guys learn, you know what? I made it, so I take responsibility. I forgive myself, and I send love to my loved one. We get up to that process, accept it. No one is perfect now. We're here on the earth plane to learn lessons. to refine ourselves. And so I just want to make sure that we learn how to forgive. Then we talk about gratitude. Gratitude,
yes.
Say, what was it from this experience, on this earthly experience, in this reincarnation, like with your husband? You say, okay, there was a purpose. There was a time. We all have contracts. So once we realize we have contracts, are you living each breath to the fullest? Are you present with yourself? Are you present with the person? Are you present when you're eating food? Most people are not. They're thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow. I could do this. I should do that. This doesn't happen. There's a shock because you weren't focused on yourself. You weren't focused on being present, or maximize what you can do in that present time. We must become present with ourselves. What I teach people is, I ask them what's the most important thing in their life. Those people.
Go ahead. I thought you were asking me.
No. If you want to answer, you can answer. You can answer it, no problem. But if you want to answer, I'll listen. But, I say to most people, they tell me sometimes they say family or their job or a lot of things in that order. Then I must tell them it really isn't correct. What's the most important for you in this physical life here is your breath. Do you honor your breath? You mean breath will keep us from the spirit world, nothing else. And so we have a divine breath. So we wake up in the morning. We had such a stimulus to wake us up, breath. When we come into the world, in this earth, this physical earth, we got to inhale and exhale with breath, that's life. But when you stop, you go to the spirit world. So when I talk about breath is so important, then also you got to think about how you use that breath. Then it's a thought, because everything is energy. So your thought can transform the energy. So you got breath, energy, thoughts. The question is, what is your breath? What is your energy? What are you thinking? You have a choice. Every soul here have at least free will and choice. The question is, are you conscious of your choice? When you wake up, breath, energy, what are you thinking? Are you thinking divine? Are you thinking ego mind? It's your choice. So whatever you're thinking will be manifested around you. Look around. Look around the people. Look around your situation. You created that through your thought process. Are you attracted to you? Because we was endowed with that ability to create. So getting back to your point earlier, when you're conforming, you're not really creating your life. You are adjusting to a life that you may not like. But you decide to do that. You might not feel comfortable with that. Understand? So remember, breath is the most. You have some energy, you have your thought. What are you thinking? So many people doesn't know how to think to maintain a thought. If you can't maintain a thought, you can't have no focus. No focus, no power. No power, no conscious creation. We always created. Listen to the way I say it, conscious creation. If you're conscious and know what you're creating with your thought, that you're maintaining, you will create that. Unconscious ain't going to happen when you scatter. You still going to create something. We always creating. Of course, are you a conscious creator? You want to become a conscious creator as to what you desire. Now, use the word desire versus want, because want is very weak. It's kind of like a victim word. What do you desire? Another word.
That is a lot of wisdom there, Dr. Hannah. That is golden nuggets of wisdom, because a lot of people, myself included, if you think negative thoughts, you're going to transmit negative energy. It took me until, and I tell the audience this all the time, till the age of 60. It was at the age of 60 I started to learn about, negative energy and about energy, and just a changed, was life-changing for me. And I'm ever so grateful, really, for my husband's journey that he had with early onset Alzheimer's, in a way, because it changed my life, because I met people who helped me. I'm doing this show because of my husband's journey. I'm meeting wonderful people like you because of the journey that my husband had that led me to where I am today. And I always say, if you're breathing and you're living, you should be learning. And, we're all works in progress.
It's totally correct. But your mind was opened up to with that frequency. Let me say what you listen to you talk your journey. You had one powerful thing going for you. You had courage. Beyond the courage, you have receptivity. Listen, nothing happened. Nothing can be born or created without receptivity. Everything on this planet is a result of receptivity and penetration. If you plant a garden, you got to fertilize. You got to relax the earth. That's called receptivity. And you got to plant the seed, or you put down the flower, whatever you're gonna put there. In regards to human beings, you got the egg and the sperm. In regards to everything comfort, you must have receptivity first to receive what you will be doing right here. There always must have some degree of receptivity to be able to absorb the frequency of it, and just be open. And right now, that's the thing. I'm talking to people's heart. The heart bypass all the intellectual from the head of the brain. You have to analyze. When you open up and listen and feel from your heart, it's a different frequency, different vibration, because your soul knows what's real and what's not. So you listen. How you listen, with your physical ear, with your divine ear, or your heart. Just being open, and being open is very important in regards to getting up and moving forward. Okay.
So your book, Remembering Qualities of Your Soul, Joyfully Living Your God Self, do you teach these qualities in your book, like how to find yourself, how to live joyfully?
I think, yes, it's about that. It's in the book. I mean, the book, if someone buy the book, I encourage them to just open the book, because you all have your angels around you. You have your intuition. You have things that would direct you to what you need. Really, we go from like left to right and read it. That's what we taught here in this country. But I'm talking about the energetic read now. Again, to trust your intuition. I'm just going to open this book up. So many people over the country, when I just open it up, seem like that's what I need for that day. I say probably is because there's something around you that's directing your energy. Say, read this right now. So yes, you can. There's so many things just to remember. But remembering is enhanced when you have some receptivity. Just remember, nothing happens by receptivity. You said from your journey, based on with your husband, you became more receptive to move forward.
Yes.
You became more, because you was open, your receptivity. Now you give birth to something different, and it's growing, it's expanding, based on your receptivity to expand this energy. Anything must first come from receptivity. And I'm saying a divine energy looking for, what I mean by divine energy, how can you elevate you? When you elevate the planet, you elevate everybody around you. I think we all here come back to that collective oneness. If you look at the sun, there's so many rays come from it. The sun is the primary energy that we receive from this earth. And I'm saying, look at it. There's a trillion of different rays coming. Each one represents a ray, but from that same source. But suppose you vibrate that sunshine love. Just imagine that. You're enhancing that frequency throughout the planet. So everything come back more to a radiant whole. And there's a natural order goes here. Mm-hmm.
I am a firm believer, Dr. Han, about listening to your gut and intuition and going with your intuition. And I have always done that, and it has always served me well. I mean, I'm also an empath, but I told my son, I said, I can't explain why I know what I know. I just know. Like I knew when my husband was going to die. The hospice didn't know that. They didn't believe me that he was dying. I knew he was dying. We had that connection, and I knew. But they didn't know that. And it's just many other things, like when you know that something isn't right with your own body or your loved one, that something isn't right with them, keep going for opinion until you get peace of that. Follow your intuition is what I encourage people.
I tell everybody, I agree with you 100% on that. You have to learn to trust yourself.
Yes.
It's just once you realize that you're part of the divine and you have that knowledge buried within you, begin to trust. It seeks out when you're quiet, when you in tune to it and listening. It comes out and you say, where did this thought come from? How did it come in? I don't know. Just follow it. I have so many of those things like that throughout my daily life, just going like this, you know what I'm saying? But you trust it. You're seeing that there's another focus to help you move to a different inner level, to have a higher frequency for you, better for you in the long run and for the short term as well.
And as a physician, I'm sure you've gone by your intuition about evaluating a patient.
No, that is a big part for me. For me personally, you have to approach it that in a very different way, using intuition or reading, energetic read. You have to, one, know that just because you know how to do it, you have to wait till the person's receptive to do it. And I did that one time. The lady brought in her grandson, which put up in the identified patient, but her energy was so imbalanced. I started reading her. And when I started reading her, I said, well, you need to take care of this because it's impacting you and your grandson. And that was so accurate. She said, how did you know this? I said, oh, I don't violate something. Because she said, you're a devil. You know so much. How you know this? I said, wow. I said, I couldn't use what I usually use. I read your charts, and I these are my questions because she wasn't a patient. But I'm saying is, you must ask person, can you talk about what you see? Okay, that's in general. But how I do it with my patients, I read and I ask them. Let's say they have, I could say heart disease or asthma or kidney disease or whatever. You can see it sometime on the skin, the color of the skin, not racial color, energetic color. And I know, say, someone have a problem with kidney disease. I say you find yourself sometimes being concerned about how you're going to make it in life. You have found that you're not going to be successful in your job, a career, relationship. They say, how you? No, because I'm feeling the fear inside of them. So it goes to the kidney. Okay, then I'm asking, you're having a problem with your kidney. Really, that's sometimes nothing wrong with the kidney, but that's from an energetic point of view, that's where the imbalance is coming from. But from an anatomical point of view, from an allopathic physician, there's nothing wrong with the kidney. Or the same thing with gallbladder or the liver or the heart or asthma. You go down, you start going backwards. Where did the start coming from? What made the arteries twitch or constrict? So you ask questions, see can we get someplace that's causing these things. Yes, I do use that a lot when I evaluate some of the consultation. But sometimes in the blood work come and confirm it, you just say, well, that's something we were talking about. They can see it's a physical thing sometimes. Especially have a lot of people who had went to andropause or menopause. There's so many symptoms that come through. That's just a read. But you can go to a regular doctor and get the blood work, say, yeah, just confirm. But there's other thing that goes that let me know intuitively that something going on with this, with their organs, like that. I would say like that. So, yes, I do use intuition.
I have to ask you this, Dr. Hanna, because I'm curious. You use a combination of Eastern and Western medicine. How do your colleagues...
One more. I would say divine energy. I would use
divine energy. How do your colleagues, what do they think, and your patients think about when you blend all these three in your practice?
Well, it's getting more intense now, but it's complementary because I asked them, I'd never kind of go against the other physician because I asked them, again, we all have choices. We have free will. So I talked to them with your physician. A lot of people have thyroid issues, especially men and women in this country. And thyroid can present as any disease. It can present, it's a master organ, it's a master masquerade as well. So the question is, when you do the lab work, and some of the lab work all say normal. I'm not a normal guy. I'm an optimal person. So someone can have normal blood levels and not function at the maximum. And a lot of physicians see, oh, this is normal, you're okay. And I say, no, they have symptoms because they might be operated. They need to be operated at a higher level, almost right at the higher level for them to feel something. So they will not give any supplements or things to increase that. So that's when I come in and I say, well, will your physician consider this? Will they do it like that? Now I have an opportunity for them to go back to their physician. I said, if your physician won't do that, then I'll do it. I won't say, oh, your physician wrong. No. They allow I with the normal limit, but normal is for thousands and thousands of people. It has something to do with your individuality, who you are. And they said that makes sense. So you never try to comfort. I don't try to. I'm a water person. I go around. I tell them what they can do. I let them take responsibility which way they want to go, because you don't get off to no hassles with that. And a lot of times what's in regenerative medicine, which I do as well, is different from allopathic medicine, especially come down with the hormone replacement therapy. Some things you need to be at optimal versus normal for people to feel better. So the question is, I involve the patient in the decision-making process, which way they want to go. Rather than I said, this person's wrong, this doctor's wrong, I'm going to do it like this, that's no good. But so.
And what is allopathic medicine?
The allopathic medicine, which most people go to, they go to the hospital, the regular MD, that's allopathic medicine. They do.
Oh, okay.
That's allopathic medicine. That's what 99% of the people are involved in allopathic medicine. That's changing now. There's a lot of people under 45 are looking for something more holistic, regenerative, or whatever. They want to be involved in their health care. They want to go beyond the third chakra. They want to go to the fourth chakra where they become more invested. They're more responsible for themselves. And that's the kind of patient I attract. Do you want to take responsible? As I said earlier in the show here, you are primarily responsible for your health.
Yes.
I'm just a third person on your team. It's you, okay? You said, okay? You must, if you want to go to an allopathic person, that's fine. If you come to me, then, that's one thing. But I tell people, it's really three. It's me, it's you, your divine, whoever you believe in, then that's me. I'm here as a catalyst to stimulate you to keep moving in that direction. The healing comes from you and your divine, not me. You have to allow yourself to align the frequency of the divine energy. I'm a catalyst to point you in the right direction. But allopathic, sometimes we want to control it down like we are doing it. We had to consider have patients to be more invested in their health. In regards to diabetes, you can teach all of that. But the question is, are they receptive to following through? Do they have the investment?
That's true.
So
yes.
You have to be, even with cancer, all those things, do you have the investment? I have people come in my office, I have to do a lot of supplements, especially the time when COVID came in. I said, well, we got to really rack up your mental immune system. I said, yep. Are you thinking health and happy? Are you thinking sick and you're going to get COVID? Which one are you doing? But what if you think you create? I said, the two, are you taking the necessary proven supplements that boost your immune system? I don't have no money.
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute. I said, if you smoking a pack a day, how much do they cost? I know they cost $8 to $10, but you know how much zinc costs? Do you know how much vitamin D3, E and A, and so many things?
Yeah,
so
yes, that's true. And I love that you said that. It's a choice, because I tell my son that all the time. My son has a friend who he's in his 40s. He's diabetic, and he's on kidney dialysis.
Yeah.
And he is. And I told Josh, I said, it didn't happen overnight. This has been progressing up there, and his friend will not change his eating habits. He will not change. He eats things he's not supposed to. So I said, Josh, everyone has a choice. We all have choices. Some are good choices, some are not, and then there's consequences when we don't pick out the good choice, the best choice.
That's totally correct, and that's the path of healing or being a catalyst to help people align to the healing. You have to always, always, always remember all souls that reincarnated have a different lesson this time. Don't interfere with their lesson unless they ask you to help them and do your best. They must be receptive and invested. If they refuse to do it, you can't force it. You can say, you know what? No, it's a free will and choice. Everything on this earth plane is a lesson for you. You teach it and you learn all the time. The question, are you taking responsibility for yourself? And are you sharing to help other people? The more you enhance and share, the better things you align yourself to radiant help.
Yes.
So if he wants to, should I say, eat the wrong food, and if diabetes go to the kidney and the kidney goes out, then he made a lifestyle. He made a choice.
Yeah.
He made a choice. And so your son, that's look at that. People make a choice and how he deal with that. So your son, Josh, got to be present with his friend and 100% and release him with love in that. Josh had to say no more. I told him so. Release with love and be present with it. That's it.
Yeah, it's and it's sad when you see someone who just will not change to help themselves, and it must be frustrating for a doctor, for any doctor, when you tell a patient, this is what you should avoid doing and eating, and this is what you should do, and a patient refuses, well, that's on them, because you did your part. In the saying, you could bring a horse to water, you can't make him drink, right? I mean, there's things in life that happen that we have no control over. Then there's things that we do have control over. We have control over what we put in our bodies.
Yes, but also listen very carefully. People came here for lessons. And for you to see someone like that, to refuse to do that, how can you be present and with no judgment allow them to live their level? You did the best you could. If they're not receiving you, I said receptivity is key. Some part of Josh's friend is not receiving it. He intellectualized and rationalizing something. That's where he stopped at. He said, I chose this. I chose his diabetes. He chose the dialysis. He said, okay, are you afraid? Are you afraid to move forward in life who you really are? Are you ready to be sick? So therefore, people have to take care of you. That kind of thing.
Yes, definitely. I agree. I get so inspired by all my guests, Dr. Hannah, and you have definitely inspired me today, and you kind of you reconfirmed for me that I'm on the right track for myself. Yes. And I just want to, encourage the audience. I say this, it's never too late to learn. It's never too late to change. And a lot of people are resistant to change because they're afraid of change. And change can be scary, but why not live our best life and enjoy life and help other people while we're doing it?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm afraid that the way I say it's always time for change.
Yes.
It's always time for change. And it has nothing to do with chronological age. It has a lot to do with your receptive mind and your will to change. So I state in the affirmative, it's always time to change. Because if we control our mind, and our mind is something that determines the energy we attract and what we manifest. So help people who's receptive, help people who want to help, and you can tell them what you see in them. The question if they want to do it, it's a choice. But we can't get upset with that because we judging them. You said, okay, can I love them And then you get frustrated. Ask me, what am I getting frustrated for? Am I getting frustrated because of what? Because they're not doing what I think they should do, the way it should. It's a judgment. Should. Because who should? Do we really know their mindset? Have they shared with us what's going on with them, what's inside? Would that person, judgment, does he have fear? Does he have doubt? Does he accept who inside? It's a lot of questions need to be asked of him to see why he continue with that process. And a lot of physicians might not ask those questions. So it's easy to get into that, what I call the third chakra syndrome. People, I got the disease, you got this, you got that, I got to get my treatment. Never say healing. I got my treatment. I go to treatment 3 times a week. I do this. Okay. What are you doing to make yourself enhanced? It's a big question. Do you want to be enhanced? That's a bigger question.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I have to ask you, Dr. Hanna, can people attend your workshops? Do you offer that on your website?
Yeah,
to help them.
In the process. That's in the process to an online workshop, online course, but I do online consultation now. I've been doing that for a while. So in regards to consultation, but online workshops, online courses have been developed a second as we talk. Because the more people talk to me about the book, they ask the same question, you have an online course. Yes, I'm working with that. And the book's available. And I'm available for consultation. Energetic consultation, health consultation, yes, we do that online.
And I'd like for you to give your website where people can go to contact you and look at your courses, and where can we buy your book?
Hannah's HolisticHealing.com. Hannah's HANNAHS, Holistic, HOLISTIC, Healing, HEALING.com. That is, you can go to that one, and you should. It's also the book is on Amazon. I prefer you go to me first, but it's on Amazon as well. The book is there.
Oh, okay. So your book is on your Hannah's HolisticHealing.com site.
You can buy it from there, yes. Like I said, well, it's also on Amazon. They have it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Dr. Paul Hanna, it was such a pleasure talking to you today. Would you like to leave the audience with any of your words of wisdom, your nuggets that you have given today are awesome. Do you have any last nuggets you'd like to share with the audience?
I'll just say, one, I always have people smile, love, and take heart. And number 2, realize they are so unique. They're so special. We all have gifts. That's confirmed by your thumbprint. No one have it. You're the only one. So look in the mirror. Accept you. Accept your gift. And shine and shine and shine. Shine like the sun and have that sunshine love, That's what I would say today.
That's beautiful. That is so awesome. I'm so grateful and blessed, folks. I say this all the time, to be doing what I do, to talk to wonderful people. And Dr. Paul Hanna, you are one of the wonderful people that I have met. I learn from every guest. Every guest I learn something from, and I am grateful to be a host on Passion World Talk Radio. And I want to thank you again for coming on, Dr. Paul Hanna. Folks, go on Amazon. The website will be in the blog for you to contact Dr. Paul Hanna to check out his website, the different workshops, consultation that he has to offer. And I want to thank Jeannie White, who writes the blog, produces the show. She's station manager, Passion World Talk Radio. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO of Passion World Talk Radio, that makes this all possible. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Please continue listening, share the show to help people. This is what I'm here for, provide resources to help you have a better life and know how to do that. And I want to just encourage people to subscribe. It is free. Chatting with Betsy is free on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, and YouTube, just to name a few. And I really would appreciate that, because I can't help other people and get this show out there unless you, the audience, help me to do it. So I would greatly appreciate that. When you do it, you are honoring my husband, Matt's memory, because it's because of Matt that I am doing this show. It's because I was discovered by Jeannie Weiss, who's station manager, when I was doing videos about caregiving. And I just am very grateful. And if you want to, the audience wants to know more about me and follow me, I am on Facebook at Betsy, Betsy, Wurzel, Wurzel. You can check me out on Facebook. And if you are a caregiver and you are looking for a support group, I have my support group, #KICK, Alzheimer's Ass Movement. You do not have to have Alzheimer's. Your loved one doesn't have to have Alzheimer's. All dementias are welcomed. All people from all walks of life are welcome. I know what it's like to walk this journey alone, and I don't want anyone to be alone. So I created the support group so no one should ever have to walk this journey alone during caregiving or after caregiving. It takes a village, and I am here to support and to help. And that's really, that's why I do the show, folks, is to help people. And that's what I have to say today. And as I always say at the end of my show, and it's really in tune with Dr. Hannah said, in a world where you could be anything, please be kind and shine your light bright. Because if we all did that, it would be a much kinder, brighter world, and we all need that today. I definitely, Dr. Hannah, believe in shining your light bright. You know, and if people think you shine too bright, tell them to put on some sunglasses. You know, you know, you have to be your authentic self. And really, folks, it took me 60 years to find that out. So don't wait until you're 60. Do it now. Do it whatever age you are. Be yourself. And, you know, if you need help, listen to my show. I have phenomenal guests on, great resources from all walks of life. My Chatting with Betsy is really a variety of different topics depending on the guest, and I really have a varied guests about all different topics. So you don't want to miss a show. So thank you again for listening. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.